If I wrote you a song, if I got every word perfectly weighted on a thin piece of paper, would it make any difference? Would it change for the better if I wrote you a poem, if I posted a letter?
Hello again, I'm back on my sofa. As promised, I've decided to put up a video this week, as I was going to talk about where do we go from here with knitting a circular yoke. If you remember back in episode 36, we talked about the measurements for a circular yoke sweater, that is. So have your measurements to hand, and did you work out your stitches too? How many stitches you needed for each element of the sweater? So today I've started with the neck, basically at the neck. I cast on 90 stitches using a 4.5mm circular needle, and I'm just knitting. I've knit the first row and joined it. I am now on the second row of 3 garter stitch rows. So today, what I intend to do is just to start the neck off and do the first increase row and then join in some colour work. I'm using my Woolly Knits 100% cotton 4-ply with 2 strands of the blue. So that it acts as a double knit. To get a nice drape, I usually use a 4.5mm needle. If I wanted it to be tighter, then I'd use a 4mm. So if we look back on episode 36, then you'll be able to see the reasoning behind the amount of stitches I'm using. So I'm coming round to the join for the first row. Which is now, as I say, I'm on my second row, so I'm doing a bump row, a purl row. Then I just need to do one more knit row before I start increasing. Let's get to the end of the row. Oops. I have a little trick when I do bump rows. Here we go. So I've got to the 2 stitches, and in between the two stitches there's a little is the thread. So what I'm going to do is do my last purl, then the next stitch I'm going to slip purlwise and put my thread with the yarn at the front, and then I'm going to put it behind. And then I'm going to start the next row. Ooh, no, that's too many on. Hang on a minute. Did I do something wrong? I did something wrong again. Forget the bit of thread between. Hang on a minute. No, I need to purl that one. And it's the next knit stitch. Let me have a look. See, that's a knit stitch there. Then I need to keep my yarn at the forward and slip from the front, then put my yarn to the back, because the next stitch is a purl stitch. And in fact, I actually should put a ring there when I've done that, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to knit on the next garter stitch row, which is now a knit. Now, right, so I'm on my first increase row. I've written it all down. You know I don't write stuff down, but I've had to this time. So I've done 3 garter rows plus 1 because I was talking too much. Now I'm going to increase, knit 1, and then increase into the next stitch. And we're going to do this all the way around, okay? Knit 1, knit into the next stitch. Now, if I do a lot of speed ups, you're just going to have to deal with that, because otherwise we'll be here for hours. So I'm going all the way around, knit 1, and when I say increase in the next stitch, I put my needle into the front of the stitch, put my yarn round, pull that, but I don't knock the stitch off. I then turn the needle to the back of the stitch, knit into the back of the stitch, and then pull it off. So then I've got 2 stitches. So that's how I do it. So let's do that again. So I knit into the front of the stitch, put my yarn round, pull that through, don't pull that stitch off, but I knit into the back of it. Then I pull that stitch off. So that's me now, all the way around. So I finished that row now. And by rights, and according to my calculations, I should have 135 stitches. So that is an increase of 45 stitches on that first row. So every row, increase row onwards, you will be increasing 45 stitches. So that's like half of the cast on around your neck, which was 90 stitches, as you will remember. So now I wanted to join in some colour. And I'd already done this. I'd already wound this up. So it's a mixture of a Lurex thread and 1 thread of the cotton. So I'm now going to join this in. And to join this in, I'm not going to be too precious about that. I'm just going to put my needle through the next loop, just lay it over and pull through. Then the next stitch, I need my scissors. Oh, forget that. Thing is I've not unpacked since last week. But what I would do is take the last thread, which I should have cut off, over the new threads and knit it into the back. So I'll do that for about 3 or 4 stitches. The reason I'd like to cut it off is because it get tangled up. Right, so I've done 4 stitches. Let's bring the coloured thread, well, sparkly thread, untwist it. That's it. Keep that out the way then. Ooh, tickly nose. So yeah, I'd not unpacked. I didn't feel like it. Strangely. I didn't feel like knitting either. I tried to start doing this, but just sampling it on a pink one, but I just couldn't do it. So I think because I've got to focus on this today, I'm doing it. Right, so now you're just going to knit across all your increased stitches with the new colour. Like I said, it's going to be a simple top to start with, something you can start with. I actually divided the stitches into 3 to so like I cast on 30 stitches to work out how it would be for a child's or a baby's top. So I think I might persevere with that and see how we get. So I haven't really, I've practiced once, but I would like to do a bit more on that before I'm happy to talk to you about it. So we're going to go around with the knit row. From now on, it's a knit row only. Now, what we didn't discuss was, when we were doing the measurements in episode 36, was your shoulder measurement, because the next increase row will be situated on the edge of your shoulder, yeah, a bit there, where the deltoid muscle, I think, starts, is about there. And I measure from the collarbone to that edge, and it's about 3.5 inches. So that's my next increase row. So I'm going to now just do stocking stitch for the next 3.5 inches before I do the next increase with the sparkly yarn, and then I'm going to finish off with a slip stitch pattern before I change to the plain blue to finish off the yoke. So it's only a small section of Colourwork, and I will show you that bit in the next episode, I think. So you can take your time over it. I had actually finished a garment by the time I arrived in Glasgow. In my last episode, I'd started a dress. Well, it became a skirt. And I will show you my finished objects at the end of this episode and what I wore it with. I wore it with my pink cardigan and one of the circular yoke tops that you've not seen finished, I don't think, yet. Didn't come up in my last April to June what I made video. So I forgot to include it, so I can include it in this month's, this quarter's roundup. Yeah, so I will show you an image of that at the end of the video in my finished object section. Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit of sparkle in there. Of course, if you want to put lace at this point in your 3.5 inch section, that would be a good place to put it, wouldn't it? You've got plenty of space to work out a lace pattern. You've got 135 stitches you can work on, and if you can work out a stitch that's like a 5 stitch lace pattern to start with, then that would be quite good. Or divide your 135 stitches with the lace pattern that you've got in mind and see how many repeats it would make. Your 135 stitches have to be correct, because it's when you come to the join that's the difficulty, I find. I don't think I've ever got it right yet. I'd be surprised if I had. Anyway, so if you've got a 10 stitch pattern, that's not going to work, is it? It means you've got 5 stitches remaining. Starting with 5 stitches is good. Then once you've got a lace pattern established, you can then look at how you can integrate a bigger pattern. It's easier with a lace stitch pattern because there's holes. But keep it simple to start with. Like I did with the my top from, I think it was episode 34, I think that was a tutorial, wasn't it? So go back and have a look at that one. Yeah, so I'm round my first row. And I don't do anything spectacular with it. I just carry on knitting. I know other people may do things, but I find that it just works okay. Just keep going. Yeah, it's looking fine. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So, next week, I hopefully have done my 3.5 inches. Hopefully kept on with it. What have I got coming up? Like I say, I'm not stopping making videos. And therefore, the next video I think is a follow-up on my installation of the EcoFlow power stream, and after a few false starts we finally got it going. The video will update you on how that happened, and I've downloaded an app and everything, and so we'll hopefully give you some figures if I could work out what it's trying to tell me. I've not been too bad with it so far. I've managed to calculate that we're powering the house and not just a battery. So more of that in the video. I have a little patch at the bottom of the wildflower garden that I want to do one of my fabric raised beds at the bottom, and I would love to put some hostas and some shady plants in that area, because that area gets shaded, very shaded. Yeah, so I've some lovely friends of mine gave me some garden vouchers, so I'm going to go and see if I can get some of them white trimmed hostas. I think they would be nice. And a friend of mine has also got some plants for me too. So I'll make a nice little bed down in that corner, because it's looking a bit... The wildflower bed is actually overshadowing it. So there's that. And then, yes, so I'm thinking of doing my memorial video on a garden night. That's it, I think, really. Oh, I'm getting tangled up again, you see. Tangled. I don't like it. That's why I need to trim this off. I think that's it, really. Oh, and I think for my Life in Orkney series, I shall be doing something new. I got this crazy notion that I would like to adapt our vehicle to a temporary caravan. It's not enthusing Mr. Ray very much at the moment, but I convinced him to buy, he's got to buy a piece of wood to finish off the solar panels at the back. And so I said, can I have the rest of the wood to make a fold-up bed that I can put in and take out of the back of the car, and will also double up as a bench, preparation area, you know, for when you're camping type thing. So that's on the cards, and that I shall be filming, I hope, during August. And I've already made some lovely quilting that will make, you know, and I've got plenty of material fabric to make cushions, so that we can dress it up and make it more comfortable. I also have a Calogas stove, picnic stove, and various other things, so that we can go on some little adventures. There's lots of places in the north of Scotland that I've never even actually visited yet. I'd love to go along the top of the NC 500 towards Ullapool, that away, which I've never done. Holidaying these days, I mean, it was so expensive to go to Glasgow and back, but as I said, Malky, if you want to go on holiday now, you're going to have to put up with it. You're camping. So, there you go. And it's much more fun. We've been watching all these camping and bushcrafting videos that, you know, hey, it's all right watching them. We live in a gorgeous part of the country. We should be trying to do that ourselves, to do some traveling, do some videos of our little travels. We're very busy people, it's true, But we don't give ourselves enough breaks, and that's what we really need to do. We really need to start doing that. So there you go. Onwards and upwards, and I've finished my second row. You can't see much. Was it my second row? Oh no, it's my first. You can see where I've done it, but you can't see much on that side yet. So when I see you in my next episode, my next knitting podcast, I got plenty of whips still, and if you want to see my whips, they're in episode 35. And maybe next time I'll give you an update on any of them, if I've managed to touch any of them in the next week. I somehow think not. I think I will just be knitting away at this. I've not unpacked, as I said. We're going through mounds of washing. So, you know, I just need to tidy up, and I just don't feel like it at the moment. I've been resting. Oh, and I had my eye done last week. I've just been resting since, because I thought, you know, well, my pressures are up because I'm up. I'm up here, you know what I mean? I'm up here, so I've got to get down. So that's what I've been doing the past few days. Resting, enjoying the sun, which was a gorgeous day yesterday, and filming my lovely little video and listening to some glorious music. I've put my I put a playlist on my last video, you know, the one about I'm leaving Orkney. Did you like that? I'm leaving Orkney. Well, you knew I wasn't. I said I'd do a video on what it was like to leave Orkney. What it was like to leave island life. It's after that video, if you've not watched it, you need to watch it, because that's how much travel you need to do. Yeah, we could have done it all in one day downwards and all in one day backwards, but that's a killer. Literally. And when you're not well, if you're not feeling well, I've driven it myself, and I am so pleased that my mate JP and his wife drove us down there, because I could not have faced driving it myself, and I couldn't have faced Malky driving it. So and you know, we're not getting any younger, you know, it's a long way. So if you're ever thinking of moving up this way, just remember the distances you've got to travel. And as you're getting older, you don't want to do them anymore. If you've not been well like me, you don't want to do them anymore. It's taken me almost a week to recover just from the travelling, let alone everything else on top. So it's just a thing to remember. So yeah, knitting for me has always been a lifesaver, but saying that, I've found it difficult this week. But I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of a start to making your circular yoke, and then we'll continue with that next week. So measure your shoulder, and start knitting towards that measurement, and then we'll do the next increase. we all have lives to lead, so you probably won't get, if you've got 3.5 inches to do like me, I'm just going to be picking this up now and again, because you've got 135 stitches. That's not a small amount of stitches to knit on. So take your time, don't rush it. If you fancy putting some lacy bits in, good, that'll be nice. That'll be nice to try for you. But when you get to your shoulder measurement, we will do another increase, and then talk about how you get to your this part division here at your chest level. Okay. And as I always say, keep knitting. See you soon.
If I wrote you a song, if I got every word perfectly weighted on a thin piece of paper,